Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I am Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. And today we're going to ask my spirit guides your political questions. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. I do post a call out for political questions on my community page on YouTube. Sometimes that can show up on your feed, which is where you see all your videos on YouTube. The people that you follow, the channels that you follow, their community post, as it's called, shows up as part of your feed. So if you're subscribed and you comment every now and again, it's more likely that you'll see this call for questions, okay? Otherwise, I do it about once a week, roughly, on my community page. And also, I just want to mention that on my community post recently, I announced that I have a new advisor. I guess he's a spirit guide, but I guess he's really more of an advisor for me. And it's Edward R. Murrow, who is a very reputable and famous journalist from the 40s, I think. And I think you might see his influence here in the sense that he is a very succinct reporter, not given to extra descriptions or he's saying unnecessary verbiage is what he's saying to me right now. So watch this. I feel like, you know, in the South and in Texas, we say hold my beer, which means basically I'm about to do something that I think is going to be really cool, but sometimes can honestly turn out like a disaster. So we'll see what happens here. I'm going to now answer your questions. I'm going to start out with Jewel of the Tarot. Thank you for your question. And Jewel of the Tarot was wondering about the 38,000 Oath Keepers membership list of names that the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, got a hold of, particularly interested in police, military, elected officials. Will the names be named? Will anything of consequence befall them? Yes. I'm trying to be succinct because now I've got Mr. Murrow sitting here chain smoking cigarettes. But here's the deal. This list was made public for a reason. It could have been, they're telling me, and Mr. Murrow is watching. He's not interjected yet, but his presence is making me want to talk fast and be very succinct. So they're telling me they could have hidden this list. They could have found a way to abridge or redact some of this list. This list was made very public, very easily for a reason. They're hoping, and I want to say the Biden administration and DOJ is hoping that these local police departments, fire departments, whatever department that this person has been outed in, they're hoping that the public, meaning the ADL and other organizations, will shame these people and shame the organization or the police department, whatever, to take action, administrative action against these people. They're hoping to sort of crowdsource this, if you will. Now, if that doesn't happen, or it just doesn't have the energy to do what the DOJ and the Biden administration wants, then the Biden administration is going to create a task force. I don't know why they're wanting me. They're also reminding me of McCarthy and McCarthyism, where people would turn each other in. And I guess there's a threat here, or there's a we should be careful of sort of communication, that when we start turning each other in, where does the line? Where do you draw that line as to who is un-American, right? So there's something to be understood here, that we should be careful about this. But the Biden administration is going to create a task force, and they're going to work with local police departments to identify these people and to find a way to either re-educate, retrain, or get rid of these people. So that's very interesting. Okay, my voice is scratchy because Mr. Murrow smokes like a chimney, and I swear, even though it's not real, it's having an effect on my throat. I just had to pause the video and cough. So I don't know how me and Mr. Merle are going to work out together. Okay. Secondhand smoke for real, even energetically. Okay. So, and if you know anything about him, he was a chain smoker before chain smoking was a thing. Okay. And now, Mickey Walk says, and thank you for your question, Jewel of the Tarot. Mickey Walk says, can entertainment diplomacy make a difference between Japan and Korea? Entertainment diplomacy, meaning that Korea has K-pop, which is a very popular form of entertainment. I'm not going to go into it, but K-pop has definitely grown past the borders of Korea. It's very popular here in the States and elsewhere throughout Europe, and is gaining popularity in Japan. Yes, I do see that, Mickey Walk. I do see, again, what the guides are showing me, and I'm going to be brief, is that it's the kids, right? Our kids don't know these rules. They don't know these social rules. They don't care about them. They don't really have a feeling one way or the other about people from a different race or a different culture. As a matter of fact, kids these days, as in the case with K-pop, are idolizing other cultures, right? So it's the kids that are going to break down these long-standing rules and ideas about other cultures. So yes, you'll see a softening and a lessening, loosening of that as we go forward, not only between Japan and Korea, but obviously between other cultures, even within the United States or Europe. It's the kids that will lead the way for us. So that's great. Thank you for your question, Mickey Walk. Patty D says, what's going on with Paul Manafort? Will he be charged for more crimes? Yes, they're telling me he is going to be charged with more crimes. And she goes on to say that she saw an article today where Lev Parnas states that the U.S. would be shocked at the number of assets and spies on our soil from his homeland. Will our intelligence folks be able to root them out? Yes, absolutely. We're rooting them out right now. This is something like, I want to say, in the top 3 of Biden's objectives. I mean, this is high on his list. We cannot allow this. So yes, Biden is rooting them out as fast as he can. And that goes back to that earlier question, right, about these oath keepers. Those people really are not, in my opinion, they're not really Americans, right? They don't hold our ideals. And how many of them have been bought out or being used as propaganda agents by these spies? So yes, Biden is very aware, and he is taking steps that they're telling me historic. He is taking historic steps. Again, we have to watch that line about McCarthyism, but he's taking historic steps to root them out. Thank you for your question, Patty. Calliope says, do the guides know? I swear to God, you guys, the cigarette smoke is killing me. I feel like when I was a kid, the cigarette smoke was so bad. My dad was a member of the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, because he fought in Korea, or he was active in Korea. He didn't. Anyway, long story. I remember being a kid, and the smoke was so thick that I couldn't see. I couldn't see anybody. Like, I remember like swimming through a fog of smoke, going, "Oh, you're not my dad," and then going to the next person. Oh God, dude, I need an air filter. I'm not, watch, my eyes are going to start watering. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me focus. Okay, does the government know what classified documents are missing? Yes, the government knows exactly what classified documents are missing. Again, they're showing me the same picture they've shown me many times, that you have papers that are labeled or numbered or in some way electronically accounted for, and you're missing, like they said this in the last video, you have number 20, 21, 22, and then 30. Well, what happened to 24 through 29, right? So they do know what's missing. Absolutely. And 2, does the government know who last checked out the documents that were found at Mar-a-Lago? No, they don't know because, well, yes, they do know. Yes, they do. Excuse me. For entertainment purposes only. I just heard Manafort. But yes, Flynn, Manafort, even Pence, I'm telling you what I'm hearing. All these people have checked out these documents. Now, I guess the other question would be, are those people going to be held accountable, right? I mean, are they responsible because they checked them out, or is 45 responsible? Well, they're both responsible. They're telling me they're both responsible, but Pence is going to get out of it. Meadows is going to, we're adding Meadows to this list. Meadows is going to, listen, they've got a list of things they can arrest or indict or charge these people on, like a buffet of things that they can choose from. And in some situations, they will choose this. You had direct responsibility for these documents. We're going to charge you with this, okay? In other cases, they won't charge them with that. They'll charge them with something else. Why? I don't know. It's all about putting together the puzzle. And in some cases, it's better to charge them with this. And in other cases, it's better to charge them with that. But yes, some people will be charged. Number 3, does the government have copies of the missing documents? No, they do not have copies of the missing documents. They have an electronic a database of the documents that should be there. But no, they do not have copies, electronic or otherwise, of these documents. They just know that document AQ579, whatever, is not accounted for. That's what they know. They don't even know what that document is in some cases. That's how sensitive this material is. But they do know that that particular document is not accounted for. Number 4, will the death of agents be tied to, I think you're talking about the death of the CIA agents. Okay, I don't know. Let me read it like you're saying. Will the death of agents be tied to Trump handing the documents over to someone else? Okay, when you say agents, the guides could use FBI, CIA, NSA. I don't know. I'm going to have to go with the generic term agents. Will the death of agents be tied to Trump handing the documents over to someone else? Yes, the answer is yes. But will we know it? I don't know. Because all of this is super classified. So we may not want anyone to know that this agent died because of this. Again, pieces of the puzzle. Again, the buffet. They have a long buffet of things to charge everybody with. And that makes it very nice for them, because if they don't want to charge someone with something that could expose a top secret situation or agent, then they can charge them with something else. They have multiple charges they can choose. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you for your question, Calliope. Okay, and Ton says, Ton 2023 says, what do the guides see in store for the Trump appointee Judge Cannon's future for her attempts to derail the DOJ's investigation? I think I basically just copied and pasted all your questions into a Word document, but I do think this question comes up pretty frequently. And what I understand is right now they're saying they will make an example of her. She will be made an example of. They will go for her law degree. What does that mean? Does that mean that they're going to disbar her? I'm connected to the guides, so I don't have connection to my vocabulary. I just have whatever they tell me. They're going to make an example of her. And there is going to be at least one other judge that comes to her aid, but they'll both go down. Anybody that helps her, or when I say help, right? Maybe rules with her, rules the same way she does, backs up her ruling. I don't know. They're going to go down. And then the other judges are going to be like, whoa, okay, no, thank you. We'll take the pass on this. Okay. So there is a heavy-handedness here again and again. The guides are saying we have to be careful about this. We are muzzling the court, is what they're saying. Now, in this case, this judge is not ethical, okay? But I don't know why, but they're just saying that we will be heavy-handed. There will be a heavy-handed response to this judge. And I think what they're meaning is, you may see in the media some people say that this is McCarthyism, that this is a witch hunt, that this is that we should not, we meaning the DOJ, the Biden administration, should not be going after these judges like this. They just showed me Kavanaugh. So anyway, yes, I believe that she is going to be removed, disbarred, disgraced. She's going to be those things. Thank you so much for your question. ML says, Vice President Kamala Harris is calling out the Supreme Courts as an activist court. Is this the push needed to move Trump's appointees, to move out Trump's appointees? Yes, this is like everybody is sort of preparing us. If they start saying, and I mean, obviously Biden has called out 45. Now our VP is calling out the Supreme Court. What they're doing is preparing the American people. They're trying to change the narrative. They're trying to get their side of the story out. And this is all important because this narrative is going to pick up around the midterms. And then it's going to be there's a big thing in December. There's big things in December. And also this activist court declaration by our VP helps them deal with the judge, with Judge Cannon as well, right? Yes, absolutely. You're right. Thank you for your question. Ron Brock says, do we have anything more to add on the special master? Whether Merrick Garland will work with the special master guidelines or if they'll just move to appeal and hammer this judge? Yes. Yes, they're going to go around this special master. They're going to outmaneuver them. It's going to be, again, they said this last video too, they're going to outmaneuver them and it's going to be brilliant. It's brilliant legal work. It's basically like they're showing me if you had a clumsy person and then another person was able to just sidestep and not, the clumsy person falls down. Okay, so there's clumsy attempts and then there's real legal finesse. That's what they want to say. They think it's clumsy, but also it exposes them. It exposes Judge Cannon and exposes other judges like her to ethical charges. So in that way, it sort of smokes them out. It's sort of, the DOJ is just sort of letting them run with this a little bit because it's going to be fodder to take them down. Hope that makes sense to you, Ron. Thank you for your question. Jamie Johnson says, Mark Kelly is one of the senators who we need to support in his reelection. How's it looking for him to keep his seat? Yes, Mark Kelly looks good to me. He looks victorious is the word they're using. So I think he looks strong and I think he will win. All right, let's hopefully my dog will start barking. Nope, she's going to start barking. Okay, Jackie Ogle says, 2 questions. Will Trump court case be moved to Washington, D.C. and loose cannon be pulled from the case because of our crackpot rulings? Yes, again, similar question to the last one. I do see this legal outmaneuvering, and I want to say maybe even Delaware or D. Maybe it is D.C. There's a D there, but yes, we're going to outmaneuver her. It's not a problem. honestly. And not only is it not a problem, it's part of the plan. That's the thing that I find very interesting about this. This is part of the plan. DOJ is like, here's a carrot. Will she bite? Yes, she bit the carrot. And now she's exposed herself to ethical complaints and or ethical charges that could get her disbarred. So this is very, again, 3D chess. These people are playing 3D chess, and Trump and these judges are playing checkers. So it's going to be very interesting. It'll be in law books. These things will be described in law books as poetic, just amazing feats of law. So that's great, right? That's what we want to hear. Number 2, with Bannon requesting both sides to give selections for the special master. Excuse me, Cannon. Why did I say Bannon? That's very interesting. I wonder if Bannon, it must be feeding them information. God bless him. I wouldn't listen to him if I were them. Okay, with Cannon requesting both sides give selections to the special master. So your question is, will she try to appoint a Federalist Society judge or someone loyal to 45? I don't see that happening. I think we're going to sidestep her. I do think she's going to appoint somebody, or like I said earlier, there seems to be somebody who comes on board that's with her, that backs her up, but they both go down. It's going to be quite surprising to them. They never see it coming. It like comes from behind and just takes their knees out. They never see it coming. But they're not that great. They're not that smart. They're not that finessed of attorneys or judges, honestly. Okay. Yeah, she's going to be outmaneuvered by Garland. You bet, Jackie. It's going to be okay, but we're just going to have to hang on till it happens. Okay. Tita Amaya says, could I check and see if the guides have any insight on the relationship of William and Harry? Will they turn the page and help their dad, King Charles, unify the cultures and races in the UK and abroad? Okay, thank you for your question. Listen, I know this is a sensitive subject, but I'm just going to tell you what the guides have been saying, period, is King Charles is not going to be respected by the citizens of his country, or of his subjects, or whatever you want to call them. I mean, there's so many reasons why. I mean, there's Princess Diana. There's the fact that he's out of touch. He's very, very, very out of touch with regular people. And he's very steeped in tradition and keeping these traditions. And to be honest with you, the people want change. They want the monarchy to change. I think we're going to actually see more problems. I think we're going to see more anti-monarchy groups, more anti-monarchy sentiment. I was getting, right before the Queen crossed over, that she made a deal with Charles to say, you get to rule for 3 to 5 years, and you have to give it, you have to give it up to Prince William. I really think that this was a contract that she made with him. Yes, you're going to get to rule. Yes, this is your birthright, but you can't rule for long. And I think that promise that he made to his mother, but also, I'm sorry to say, I just see Great Britain, I just see it suffering. There's still financial issues and still things that are going to be happening because of Brexit and because of this new conservative leader. I see a new leader coming in that's more liberal. And this is the person I saw when I talked about before, is liberal, dark-haired. I think potentially someone with a lineage outside of Great Britain, perhaps even Indian. That's really the future. Your question is also, will William and Harry get along? I do see that, but honestly, not until Prince Charles takes a lesser role. I do feel like William is trying to bring Harry into the fold. I think that Harry needs to come back to Britain, go back home. I think that this is important healing that needs to happen. And I do think it will happen, but it's going to take a few years at least. And in those years, it's going to be a little choppy because I don't see King Charles being the best king. I just don't. He's getting what he deserves. He is birthright. He's getting what he was promised, but I don't see him being a leader. I just don't. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that's what the guides are saying. Thank you for your question. Martha Spillman says, can the guides see any end in the near future to the seemingly endless series of delaying tactics regarding the government documents taken from Mar-a-Lago? I do see an end, you guys. We're talking December. Some real big things are happening. And this is all going to be wrapped up, quote unquote, in March. That's what they're telling me. I'm going to believe them. and we're going to move on to Lily Fee says, thank you for your question, Lily. Could you please ask your guides if the German economy will collapse completely? The first companies in the industry have already stopped production. Will it get better again in the foreseeable future? I have to be honest with you and say that when I saw German economy collapse completely, I kind of had a jolt in my energy, which means that there's energy around that. I do not see the collapse of your entire economy, but I do see some corrections. This is around manufacturing, obviously, also oil, gas, that sort of thing, importing, exporting, but also there seems to be some sort of thing that's happening with the people, with the German people and working and workers' rights. Also, there's much bigger added pressure from the German people to go more green. So I see more pressure from the German people onto your industry and also onto the leadership. And this has overcome the leadership. So I do see the leadership becoming more green and more liberal in the next elections. But I don't see a complete collapse, but I do see a correction, which could mean that some companies go out of business and there could be some big shakeups, right? But overall, this is needed. Your economy needs this. It's being held too tightly by too few industries or companies or people. It needs to diversify. It needs air. You know what I mean? It needs to have new come in, and that will really make a big difference. In the meantime, yes, there's going to be shortages and there's going to be some unrest, but it's all for the good in the end. So I hope that helps you. SA says, will all the court corruption come to light? Supreme Court, federal courts, will these judges be punished? Any new laws to prevent frivolous lawsuits from people like Trump? So your first question is, will this court corruption come to light? Absolutely. And as the guides have already said, they're going to make an example of Cannon. They're going to make an example of a few judges. And that is going to have a real chilling effect on specifically these Federalist Society judges. Believe me when I say that they will go back to settled law, meaning they're not going to be activist judges overthrowing settled law. The way they overthrew Roe v. Wade, that was considered settled law because it had been challenged and it had been law for decades. At that point, it's just been understood that courts wouldn't overturn those types of laws, right? But these courts are. So yes, I do see these judges stepping back, okay, and creating a lot of space between them and Cannon and a few other judges. Now, will these judges be punished? Cannon will be punished. Maybe one other judge, two other judges will be punished, maybe three. But the majority of them will not be punished because they will step back into line. So what I'm trying to say here is that some of those 45 appointed judges, some of those Federalist judges will continue to sit on the court, continue to sit on the bench. They will continue to rule right of center, but they won't go off just completely off into the weeds anymore. So that is a good thing. It's not perhaps what Susan would like to see, but it's at least putting guardrails up. You cannot go outside of this guardrail. We will come for you. Okay. So it's the bare, in my opinion, it's the bare minimum. But it's something. It's something. Okay, that's all I can say for that. Christine Bermel says, which of the many cases against 45 will convict him first? I don't know, you guys. The two camps are still there. I did do a video that I haven't even published. I have been so busy, that talked about the energy is unleashed. They showed me this thing where the energy has been trying to be held back again, back to Biden with his hand on the pot. The pot is boiling. He's keeping his hand on the pot. He's not allowing the lid to blow off. They showed me the lid is blown off. Now, my guides are quite a bit ahead of our timeline. So this probably means November, December. And what it also means is that nobody can control this anymore. One of the videos I did a long time ago said that the reason the lid was going to blow off was because investigative journalists were going to find the information and leak it. And that was going to force Biden's hand, and he was going to have to let the information out. Well, this is what's happened. Of course, it's already happened. How many of those investigative journalists have written books, right? But this is what's happened in this case, that they're showing me how the information got out about the nuclear top secret information, right? How the press got a hold of that. Well, they're showing me that, and there's more. Oh, there's a lot more. And it's being leaked every day. Like they just showed me more information about Jared being involved in potentially, allegedly, and having known about the Khashoggi murder, and how Jared brought a list. And this is actually public. You can Google this. Jared took a list of the Saudi crown prince's enemies and gave it to him. And then after that, the Saudi crown prince's uncle was carted off and put in prison and subsequently crossed over, as did a lot of other people. So these things are out. It's game over. The energy is released. Biden, the DOJ, can no longer control the narrative. Okay, so now they're just up to doing damage control. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The answer is I don't know. And I'm sorry. But he's going down. I will tell you that. I just don't know which one is going to. It's a delicate balance, and there's lots of people that have to negotiate. Okay. Thank you for your question. I really appreciate it, Christine. Okay. Beth Jursic says she would like to know about the nuclear plant in Ukraine. Will they get it under control? Gosh, they just said no. They just said no, they're not going to get it under control, at least not right now. They're showing me the energy is changing sides. One side gets it, another side bombs, another side gets it. It's precarious right now, you guys. It's precarious. I hate to tell you that, but that's what I'm getting. I can't tell you the outcome because it's not settled. There are energies that are ascended masters that are not going to allow us to blow up the planet, so you don't have to worry about that. But will there be a leak? Potentially. Absolutely, potentially. And I don't know why, but they're telling me, and it could be accidental. How something can happen accidentally during a war, I don't know. But maybe someone that's meant to protect it actually does something. And it is not even actually Russia's fault or something. I don't know. It's very interesting. I wish I could give you more information, Beth, but that's all I'm getting right now. Nancy the Water Chick says, what does Biden's future in both his first and second term look like? Will he complete his agenda? She says, I keep feeling that he may have a threat to his energy. I'm just going to leave it like that before the election in 2024 from a pow nut, a GUN nut. I have seen that same energy. I have that same feeling. And we're not making it up. I'm going to tell you right now, Nancy, you and I are not making this up. This is real. This is a real threat, but I don't see it being, what's the word? I don't see it being, fatal. Okay. I don't see it being fatal. I have often seen something hitting him in his shoulder. I've talked about this in many, many videos. And I feel like that might be the thing that he says, I can't finish my term. I'm okay, but I just can't recover from this to the degree that I need to, handle the stresses of being a president. So, I don't see him doing a second term. I just don't. I think that either the VP will take the second term, or perhaps Buttigieg or somebody will come in and make a really interesting new ticket. And then as far as does he get his agenda? Yeah, this guy will go down in history as having done more for the American people, more for democracy than almost any other president. And I would draw a line perhaps only at George Washington and Lincoln. So he's going to go down. They're saying hallowed halls. He will join the hallowed halls of past presidents, historic past presidents. They're giving me chills on that. Of course, this isn't going to happen immediately, right? I mean, we often have to look back to be able to really see the value that someone has given us. So it might be in the future, but that's what I get with that, Nancy. And I would just say, everybody, when you're saying your prayers or doing your meditation or sending your white light or whatever it is that you do, please, in case our president and vice president in that white light, that would be wonderful. Thank you for your question. Susan Kelly says, she just said, thank you. Well, thank you, Susan. I appreciate it. And Freda says, will Ukraine take back Crimea from Russians' control? I've heard they will. Honestly, if you go back, I've done 3 videos on Ukraine right in the very beginning of this war, this attack on Ukraine. And the guide said, yes, they're going to take back Crimea. They said it, back in March. And yes, they are going to take back Crimea. Now, when I had heard back then about 3 years, that I guess that would be last year. I don't know. But anyway, I think everything is on track to move much quicker. So right now, Ukraine is marching across the country and taking back a lot of Russian-held lands. And I see them taking Crimea back. The soonest would be 16 months. That's very soon. Very, very soon, because Russia has had control of Crimea for years. They annexed it illegally. So they've had control of it for a long time. And but I do see Ukraine taking it back, absolutely. Thank you for your question. Alyssa says, will Japan survive as an economic power given the aging population and economic and military threats that China makes towards them? Yes, I do see that. This kind of goes back to the question earlier about Japan and Korea and entertainment diplomacy. Japan is going to have more diplomatic relations with other countries in that region, and they're going to form sort of a group of countries that feels like NATO, but their own version, some sort of security alliance. And Taiwan might be in there with them. So they're understanding that they need to come together, that there is more power in numbers, in solidarity. So yes, I do see that. MM says, this is an interesting question. Can the guides describe what's going on with 45's arrival in DC? Apparently, 45 is in DC. I think that was yesterday. He's telling his side of the story. That sounds like a what is that when you give your testimony? It sounds like he's swear to God, they're showing me, he's like, see, what happened was, and you don't understand, I was president, and I know you don't know what it's like to be president, but I was president. He's basically, it's a bunch of malarkey, right? And God bless him, he's probably incriminating himself nonstop to boot. So he is there. I do not think that this is a formal proceeding. I think that he was invited to come and maybe answer some questions. And he really, truly believes that he can just explain this away. And I don't know, you guys, that's what I'm getting. He feels like he can make this go away. He's made everything else go away his whole life. He's never had to pay the price for anything he's ever done. This is a person who truly believes that he can get away with things. So he's there as a courtesy, I'm hearing, to answer some questions. But let it be known that this is being recorded, that, you know, his testimony, whatever, is being recorded. And right. So they made this informal because there's something about him pleading the fifth. Like, we're going to make this informal. We're not going to, it's off the record, so to speak. That's brilliant. Isn't that brilliant, you guys? If you invite him to come and speak and it's off the record, right? Then he's going to tell you all the dirt. And of course, maybe you can't use that against him, but you can investigate the dirt that he tells you and then go to that person and then have that person testify back against him. Do you see what I'm saying? These people are playing 3D chess, and Trump is over there with his little checkers, right? So it's really a trap. It's honestly another part of the trap. And he's too stupid and too egotistical to realize it. So that's what he's doing. He's explaining himself. You don't understand. So anyway, let's go to Kelly Paul. Thank you for your question, MM. That was a great question. Kelly Paul, and I might have to wrap this up and do a part 2. Kelly Paul says, do the Democratic politicians already have a pile of beneficial laws ready to pass once they get the majority? Will they be successful at passing the laws that truly help the common folk? Yes, on your first part of your question, they do have a wish list of laws. Now, they can't be certain because the people that are going to be elected, they don't know what those people are going to be willing to vote for. Okay, I mean, they are talking to them, of course. If you're running, of course they have feelers out to kind of see where you stand on this or that, but they can't be 100% certain. But there are some people that are likely to be elected or are, in the running that they're not sure about, that they're not sure which way they'll vote. So, but yes, they do have a wish list. And then your second question was, will they be successful at passing the laws that truly help the common folk? This is a really big question, because if you ask me, this is the thing that I worry about, to be honest with you. I mean, I know Trump is going down. I know all his cronies are going down. Done deal. I know we're going to have problems at the polls. I know we're going to have challenges with the election. I am concerned about that for sure. But I'm also concerned about the Gen Zers, the kids that come out and vote, and the minorities that come out and vote, and get these Democrats in the office, and then the Democrats don't follow through with some really big deal. I mean, these people want change. They voted for change. They voted for the first time, maybe in their lives, and they expect change. So I'm a little worried that our Democratic Congress and Senate, either A, we won't have a supermajority, and we just won't be able to do the changes we'd like to do because we don't have quite enough votes to overcome a filibuster, or in the slim chance that we get a supermajority, that we just we're not bold enough. We're not big enough and bold enough. Because honestly, if you watch C-SPAN and you watch our Senate, watch the Senate hearings or their votes, their voting, you guys, it looks like, octogenarian land, I mean, they're all old white people. And I mean, really old white people. They do not represent Americans in any way, shape, or form. And even if we add a couple of senators, it's not going to change the balance. It's not really going to change the attitude of the Senate, right? So we've got even more work to do. I'm just going to do one more question, and this is by Phoenix Rising in Florida. Thank you for your question. Just curious how Melania and Barron are financing their lifestyle with 45 seeming to have no money to even pay lawyers. Melania's husband shopping. That's what I just heard right now. She is no dummy. She is no fool. She is husband shopping. That's how she's going to pay for her lifestyle and for Barron's lifestyle. She'll be leaving him within a year. It may be even as soon as 6 months. Maybe as soon as 6 months. That's how she's going to do it. I mean, I ran through all the scenarios while I was staring at the screen. Like, is she going to sell secrets? Is she going to, what, there's a lot of things, right? She could do theoretically to make money. She's husband shopping. That's what she's doing. So with that, I'm going to end our part 1 of this video because I have no idea how long it's been going because I've had to interrupt it a few times. Thank you so much for joining me today and for watching. And I managed to get through it, even though my nose was watering, my eyes were watering from the cigarette smoke. I feel like energetically my eyes are red. But thank you again for joining me. You guys take really good care of yourselves. That's the most important thing that your spirit guides want you to know, regardless of what's happening in the world. What is happening in your world with you? Are you taking care of yourself? That's the most important thing that they want to talk about. So again, thank you for joining me. Take really good care, and we'll see you again right here on this channel. For entertainment purposes only.